Hey guys, this is Mr. McNeese. I just want to make this video to talk about how to do an investigation. Since some of my students are in person and some are online, it makes it kind of difficult to communicate with both at the same time. So I decided to make this video just kind of show y'all how to submit one or how to create one and then submit one. So here I am on my stat reasoning page. Now, if you go to the resources, go to Unit 1, and then go down, you'll see Day 6 is Investigation Workday and Review for Test. Um, that day is going to be dedicated to both those things, but I wanted to make this video ahead of time so that way anybody that wants to work on theirs before that day, they can see this video and start working on it. I suggest working on it before the 27th or 28th because the paper itself is due the 1st of September. So the sooner you get started on it, the better. So a few things I want to talk about. I want to talk about the guide, the rubric, and then how to use the Stacklit website, and then how to turn it in. So the first thing I want to do is I want to talk about the guide. So the guide is simply a step-by-step paper that shows you the things that you want to do. So before you begin writing your report, and then these are the steps you want to take. Okay, so choose an athlete or team you want to focus on, and then choose a categorical variable. So let's say, for example, I want to focus on Peyton Manning. Okay, so step 1 done. Step 2, I want to look at a categorical variable. So remember, categorical variable is something that can be split into categories. Let's say I'm looking at passing completion. So that's usually a completion or incompletion. So that's a categorical variable. And then find relevant data. So you can use a ton of different websites. There's ESPN.com, there is Sports Reference website, and these are all linked down here. So sportsreference.com, ESPN.com, all these websites have good references for data. So got my person, got my categorical variable. I can search up data on here. Next thing I want to do is this is basically the layout of how you want to write your paper. So the first thing is an introduction. States a question of interest, briefly describes the context of the athlete, performances, and then particular variable and performances, and also describe how and where you obtain your data. So that's where you just say, I obtained my data from, and then you provide a link to it, okay? Or you can provide it at the end, whichever one is fine, so long as you have a link to your sources. Okay, so introduction paragraph, and then part 2, state the number of successes and failures, and so on and so forth. That you just want to read through this, and this is basically telling you how you want to write your paper, okay? The other paper is the rubric. This is how I'm going to be grading your investigation. So you want to be shooting for all of these 4s right here. So I got a section for introduction and data collection, graphs and summaries, all the way down to the conclusion, as well as overall presentation. So you don't want to have it unorganized to where I have to jump around. So you want to have a nice flowing paper. That's what this row here is for. And then at the bottom is just a point system. So this is how I will be grading it. Whenever you get done writing your paper, refer to this rubric and see, okay, did I get all the bullet points in this section? Did I get all the bullet points in this section? And on and on and on. You want to make sure that you got all of them, and if you feel comfortable with it, then you can submit it. So that's the guide and the rubric. Now, the other thing I wanted to talk about is the Stacklit website. So I use stacklit.com for the simulation, because you're going to have to simulate his performance, or whoever you do, team or athlete. You're going to need to simulate their performance and create a graph representing that. And Stacklit is a really good website for that. So this is what the website looks like. If you scroll down and go down to where it says applets for stat reasoning in sports, you click on it, it's going to bring up a couple links. This is Unit 1, so you're going to click the Chapter 1 link. If this was Chapter 2, you do Chapter 2 and so on and so forth. But we're going to click Chapter 1. And this is a simulator. It's a little machine that kind of creates this simulation for us, so we don't have to do it by hand. So let's say I'm looking at Peyton Manning's passing in a specific game, and I want to see if that performance was out of the ordinary for him. So it says enter the athlete's ability to be successful as a decimal from 0 to 1. So let's say his passing completion percentage was 60% that game. So as a decimal, that's 0.6. And let's say he threw 30 passes. The number of attempts, let's say he threw 30 passes that game. So I'm going to put in 30. And then it says simulate one performance based on the parameters above. So if I click simulate one performance, it's going to simulate it. And in this one performance, it's saying he completed 18 passes. So we don't want just one performance. We want at least 100. That will give us a good simulation to take a look at. So it says simulate blank. I'm going to type in 100. And then I'm going to click add more trials. And immediately it gives us a graph. So I'm able to look at this graph just based off of one performance, just seeing his ability of 60% and 30 attempts. I'm able to create this entire graph instantly instead of having to do it by hand. Now to find your p-value, okay, for your conclusion, if you're trying to find your p-value, let's say, for example, in real life, Peyton Manning completed 23 passes, let's say, 23 passes. So I want to count the number of completions he had, or the number of dots he has at and above 23. So it says count the number of dots, change this to greater than or equal to 23, and then hit count. And it's going to flag all the dots at and above that, and it tells me down at the bottom 6 dots are greater than or equal to the specified value. So I know that my p-value now is 6 out of, I have 100 dots total, so my p-value is 6%. And if I want to copy and paste this over, okay, so I just right click it and hit copy image. And now let's say, for example, I'm writing hold on one second. I'm writing my paper and I want to do a Google Doc. So if I do, well, there we go. Okay, let's say I want to do a Google Doc for my investigation, and I have my investigation, unit 1, and I've got, all my papers, all my writing and stuff in here, and then I could just copy and paste that graph into my paper here. And so let's say I'm done with my investigation and I want to turn it in. How do I do that? Well, in order to turn it in, inside the investigation workday and review for test folder, I have a link that says Unit 1 Submission Form 2021. If I click that, it's going to bring me to the submission form, and I'm just going to fill it out. So let's say my first name, first and last name, and then class period, let's say I'm in third period, and then link to investigation. So whenever I'm creating this paper, okay, I've got my paper here, I'm ready to turn it in. I'm going to hit share, and then I'm going to copy link, okay? And then whenever I'm done, what I can do is I can come over here and then just paste it and then hit submit. And now I'm done. So I've submitted my paper, I've got everything done and organized, and I showed you in this video how to work the Stacklit website, and I showed you how to submit. But I also have, if you just want to read Unit 1, how to use Stacklit for Unit 1 investigation and how to upload. I have links for just Word documents on that as well. I also have in here sample investigations. So Unit 1 sample investigation 1 and 2. This is just some old investigations for you to be able to see kind of what a proper investigation might look like. So those are there for you to view, and that's about it. So if y'all have any questions, feel free to let me know.